All right, y'all, we are out at one of the state game lands public archery ranges. I actually uploaded a video from something I filmed here about 2 weeks ago. Uploaded that long form yesterday. Today we're back out here. We got both the recurve and the compound today. I'm just going to be doing some shooting generally with the compound. No specific goals, just shooting. I enjoy it. Always good to get some practice in, especially in these harsh conditions. It trains you up to be able to do well in any sort of condition. And then we got the recurve today. I have a new set of recurve arrows, and they're a lot lighter than my old recurve arrows. I'll talk about that later. So they fly a little bit different, and we got to kind of figure some of that out today. So Coal Region Explorer, Raptor Will are in here. Two frequent people who are always like the first people in there, and two awesome members of the channel. Thanks for coming in, guys. I have done a group at 30 yards with the compound already. I'm shooting really well so far. I actually did some release training last night, so I'm good on that front. I just had some fresh practice. I also built, you guys will see a short of this in a couple weeks, for free. I built a nice little range quiver, hip quiver, and we're going to be using that today as I go pull arrows and stuff. Won't have to carry it, just can put that in there, keep my hands in my pockets nice and warm. So yeah, let's get the recurve strung and then show you guys these new arrows, talk about that for a minute, and then we will get to some shooting on camera. Recurve bow stringer. I've shown this many times before, but essentially what you do is you put this on the tips, you step on this to put the tension into the bow, slide the string up, and then release the bow stringer and let the bow string itself actually take over the job of holding tension in the bow. Walk back here. There you go. Slide that down. Bowstring on. Bowstring on that side. Always want to do a double check. And now the bow's strung. Alright. Grab our new arrows. We're going to grab like 6. We got 2 backups just because I brought them. And that fits really nicely right there. I'm going to have a video coming out about how I made this eventually. Snow falling off. But yeah, so let's go to 10 yards and just start to get a good point of aim with these new arrows. As I said, I got brand new recurve arrows for a variety of reasons, and they're a lot lighter than my old ones, so they're gonna fly different. Where I'm gonna have to aim is gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna figure that out today. Here is 10 yards. Looks like it'll be handy. It will. And you know what? The interesting thing is, if you bought them, if you bought one from like online for a good one, you're looking to pay 30 bucks. This was absolutely free, and in many ways it's better than the ones you get online. So I like it. I'll show you guys how I did that in an upcoming short. Yeah, so I am going to be shooting these arrows. These are made by Pinals, Pinals. They're a higher quality arrow than my old ones. The old ones were like $36 for a dozen. I just got them right when I started shooting recurve. Super cheap, and they were fine, but they were very heavy for the spine they were supposed to be. These are literally 200 grains less for the same spine, and they're still well within the confines of what this bow should be shooting. So that's going to do a couple things. It's going to flatten the trajectory, which will actually make it easier to hit stuff, because if I'm off by a little bit, the vertical distance with which I miss is going to be less than the other arrow because they have a flatter trajectory. They're also just a nicer quality arrow overall. My old ones were getting kind of dinged up. They're old. Some of the feathers were falling off, and I wanted to upgrade, so I got these, and these should fly flatter, but that means I'm going to have to kind of redefine where some of my aiming points are, and we're going to work on that today. All right, 10 yards. I generally know where my 10-yard aiming mark is because I've done a little bit of shooting with this arrow set so far, but let's finalize that here. Okay. Every 2 or so shots, I'm gonna take my hands off, stick them in my pockets, because it's kind of chilly. Is this live now? Yes, it is, Randy. You caught one. Yeah, I've only shot them out to 20 yards so far, but the point of impact at 20 is different. So when we step out to 30 today, it's definitely going to be different. They fly much flatter. My old arrows for 500 spine, 30-inch arrows with 100 grain point were 580 grains, and these are like 335 or something. It's literally ridiculous. So I was doing some calculations of my FOC and realized, oh, these arrows might be kind of junky, because a sign of a good arrow is that you can get good, strong, properly spined arrows at a light weight. So obviously they were cheap arrows, and they didn't do that. They functioned. They were the correct spine. They flew generally fine, but they were way heavier than they needed to be. So I upgraded to these, and we're gonna see what we can do with them. Okay. So I'm generally hitting a little high, which makes sense because these are lighter. Yeah? Yeah. So on the old arrows, because they were a little bit heavier, even at 10 yards, they dropped just a little bit more. So I'm aiming with my typical aiming point, and they're all hitting high, which makes sense. So I gotta redefine that and make it a little bit lower that I gotta aim. There you go. That one's closer in there. As usual, I'm working, so watching what I can. Not a problem. That is one of the interesting things that you, Randy, are going to be able to see is Woodsman said he's bringing his recurve, but because his recurve's a little bit different and it has different arrows, the first probably 30 shots I take with that bow, I'm probably not going to be too good because unlike a compound that has sights that you can do that, the recurve arrows don't have sights, and it's not the same as this bow. So I can't just use my marks from here. It'll be close, give or take, but I'm not going to be very good the first couple shots I take with his bow because it's different. Different set of arrows, different bow. I'm still trending high, 6th arrow here, which is good because it means like my old arrow, like it is solidified in my mind that that's where you aimed for 10 yards, but I need to redefine that with the new set of arrows. There you go. Last one, we got it to fall right in the middle. So this is only 30 feet, 10 yards. Nothing fancy here, even with a recurve. Let's show you what we got here. So here's what the group looked like. As I said, so I generally got lower throughout the group, which is what we want because we're trying to find the new point of impact with this new set of arrows because they are much lighter. So as I said, it makes sense. The old arrows were much heavier. Generally, my group started off pretty high. Then we got lower. This one was good elevation, but a little bit right. And then this was our last one, right in the mix there. We're gonna do one more set, see if we can put them all in there. Saving Grace, how's it going? Thanks for stopping in. Let's pull these arrows. There you go. These targets in this cold temperature, it's like 17 degrees Fahrenheit right now. They are very hard, but it's so much easier to pull out these recurve arrows than it is to pull out the compound arrows. Can I do it with one hand? Oh yeah, I can. Could never do that with compound arrows on these targets in this temperature. All right. Back in the quiver. Don't have to worry about carrying those, especially when I'm carrying multiple things or moving and whatever. It's really nice, and I can just walk to a different target without having to go grab my arrows. They're just on me. Saving grace. I made a hip quiver for free. It'll be a short coming out on the channel, not too long. This cost me $0, and it works absolutely flawlessly. This is a piece of PVC pipe that a rod tip replacement was shipped to me from the warranty department of a fishing rod company. I cut it. You guys will see the short eventually, but I'm giving you a synopsis. I used the heat gun and then made this end cap, wrapped the whole thing in tape to give it a nice, cool, sleek look, as well as to give it great grip for the paracord. And then I tied the strap with the paracord and put a little sliding knot so that I can adjust it as I want. And it can hold up to 8 of my recurve arrows, and it can hold 7 of my compound arrows. I just put 6 in there when I go do stuff. That's what I have in here now, and it works really well. All right, let's shoot one more group from 10 yards here, and then we'll go up to 20, shoot a group, and then we'll kind of switch over to the compound for a little bit. "47 people in here, 9 thumbs up. All right, let's see what we can do here. See if we can get that group to lower a little bit. Brand new arrows for anyone just coming in. So we're trying to find our new aiming point with these new arrows that are a little bit lighter than our old ones. Good shot, right in the money. We're only at 10 yards, so this isn't too fancy, but we got to start with the basics, finding the new point of impact for all these arrows. That one's a little bit left, but it's almost on top of our previous shot. So one of the things I did realize, for those of you guys who watched the last time I was shooting the Recurve Live, I was doing this weird thing with my nose placement and the string that I'd never done before. And it like opened my eyes to how consistent I have to be. And it was interesting, and I figured that out and got that defined, and that was good. And we did that on live. But I was always wondering, like, why did I start doing that? And then I realized that was the first legitimate shooting session outside of my garage where I was just testing this out. I made myself an archery tab, switched from gloves to tabs, and made this. And that was the first shooting session I actually shot outdoors with the tab. That's why my nose point was off, because it feels a little bit different drawing with the tab than it does with the glove, and it moves it just ever so slightly, so I have to move my face a little bit differently with the glove versus the tab. I switched back and forth between them the other day to figure that out, and like what the differences are. That's why my nose placement was off, because I was doing the same thing I had always done with the glove but with the tab, and it's not quite the same. So archery is dope. It is. Double tap that screen, subscribe, both are free and easy to do. Thank you, Saving Grace. That smacked the top, didn't it? Let's make sure we don't do that. I've never had that happen. Let's avoid that. Everything's all right. Let me check. I think it was just like at the final extension. Yeah, I mean the bow's fine, but let's avoid that. Have you tried a kisser button? I have a kisser button on my compound. On this, as I said, I've never had an issue, but it's because I switched my release method, which moves it a little bit. But now we got that dialed in. We're hitting good left and right here. So yeah. Kisser button's a good tool. It's not necessary. I could take it off my compound and I'd shoot just fine, but it's a good training tool, especially if you do something like switch releases. But now I know how to switch between the glove and the tab, and I think we're all right now. So bake is quick. We try and be family friendly here. All right, so back up so we can't smack the top. Okay, we got that point of impact pretty dialed in now. Brand new set of arrows for anyone just coming in. So they weigh a little bit different, and we're trying to figure out our new points of impact with it. It is the internet, I know, but we do pretty good. We do pretty well here on my channel, keeping it family friendly. We have some awesome moderators in the house who, nothing I said was foul. Yes, but we don't like innuendos either. So we're just, nothing against you. We just try and keep it ultra family friendly. That's kind of the style we like on the channel. If you don't like that, feel free to go elsewhere. It doesn't bother me too much. We got an awesome community here, and we try and protect that. Okay, so that one hit left. That was me. I know what I did. Moving on. There you go. That's fine. There you go, right in the middle. Good recovery from that last shot. Okay, so 10 yards. Minimal change, maybe an inch or two change with these new lighter arrows in terms of how high or low it's hitting. Blue Pine Art, hello. But yeah, now we got it dialed in. Grouping is still generally a little bit left, which has to do with my nose placement on the tab versus the glove. Still trying to get that dialed in. We have a whole live dedicated to me mostly figuring that out, but it's like kind of biased left. And then we have one flyer to the right and one flyer to the left. So flyer, and then the whole group here is pretty good in the dot, but it's biased left. That's just little stuff I have to figure out here. Having just recently switched between the glove and the tab for my recurve shooting. I heard someone in chat, I can go back and find it, say, you're lucky. They live in California and we have snow, they don't have snow. It is kind of cool. It has its pros and cons, but I can understand people who've never experienced it finding it super intriguing. It is really beautiful and really cool. But it can also be kind of a difficulty at times. It all depends on how you look at it. Oh, there you go. All right, 20 yards. This is where stuff will start to get interesting. 10 yards with the recurve. I mean, you have to know what you're doing, but it's not too bad. Even if you're kind of just generally aiming, you'll kind of hit where you want to go. But especially with new arrows that are going to fly a little bit differently than the old ones, have a little bit different weight, we might start to get some weird results at 20, and we're going to find out what we got. Got to drive up north of that, and if we do, it's melted or black. There you go. All right, let's see what we can do. 20 yards, new arrows. Okay. Actually, elevation on that one was pretty good. It was a little bit left, but I can fix that. Okay, too high. We're figuring it out. No, I'm a righty shooter. It's because you guys are on the selfie camera. It's flipped, as you can see up there. The words are also flipped. Hey, Ralph. Okay. I'm kind of like straddling it, so I'm trying to find out what's too high, what's too low, and we can kind of teeter-totter back and forth till we find our home in the middle. Actually, at 20 yards, the point at which I have to aim with these new lighter arrows is pretty significantly different. There we go. That one was good. So yeah, we are trying to find our home with these new arrows that are over 100, well actually 200 grains lighter than our previous set. If you're interested in why that is, and you know stuff about archery and you're like, 200 grains, that's crazy, let me know and I can explain to you how that happened. What's the draw weight? This is, whoa, sorry about that, guys, just smacked you. This is 40-pound recurve. I have my 70-pound compound over there. We're going to be shooting that a little bit as well today. Get a Robin Hood. -20, man, yeah. Here's 50. Yeah, I'm sitting at about 16 degrees Fahrenheit right now where I am. This morning it was like 2, but yeah, it's warming up. The sun's nice. All right, we found our home, at least generally. I got to get it to the point where it's repeatable, because this point of aim is slightly different than our one with the old set of recurve arrows, but yeah, we're getting there. We had two in the middle after a bunch high and low and left and right, whatever. We're trying to find our home with the new set, so. Okay. All right. I'll go pull those later. Let's go shoot a set with the compound. Let's show you my first group over there. I shot this off camera. I was talking to a guy. There was a guy here at the range that left, and I didn't want to. I was in the midst of a conversation with him, and I wanted to kind of get started shooting, but I didn't want to turn on the live yet. So I shot a set out at 30 yards with the compound without the camera on. We had one flyer that somehow went high, but I guess that's what you get when you're not warmed up. The rest of them were dead money from 30 yards with my compound bow. I think all of them are in the dot from 30. We have a line cutter, one cutting the line. Oh, 2 cutting the line, but they're all in Louisiana. Awesome. So, couple line cutters, but 1, 2, 3, 4 in the dot. That one's a little bit high. These are significantly harder to pull out of the target. Some of them are harder than others. Actually, this isn't too bad. Last time I was out here, it was like 7 degrees, and they were definitely harder to get out. There you go. All right, boom. And then these 5 arrows also fit very nicely into the new quiver I made. Been real cold, supposed to break tomorrow, 25 degrees, there you go. Make a recurve is that? That is a vintage Stemler Tartar, it's called. It was made in like 1969 or something like that. It was my grandpa's, the first bow I ever shot. I currently own 3 bows. One of them I don't touch much anymore. It was my starter compound given to me by my girlfriend's dad. That's a 1996 PSE Mach 5 Carbon 2. There's some video content to come with that bow, messing around with that. But yeah, eventually I'm gonna upgrade my recurve. But yeah, I shoot it. It was my grandpa's. He likes seeing me use it, and it's pretty awesome. All right, here's what we're gonna do. 40 or 50? What do we want? 40 or 50 yards with the compound to start the compound on camera session. You're dedicated. I'm trying. I enjoy it. I mean, it's not hard to come out here and shoot in the cold when you want, like you're itching to go out there and shoot. So 40, starting at 40. What bow you shoot, I'll show you in a minute. Michael wants 50, but Michael got beat out by Mike, who said 40. So we're gonna start at 40. We'll probably move up later. My bow is aluminum. I can shoot out to 70 at this range. I don't know if we'll shoot at 70 today, but we can. So, well, not officially. Furthest target you have is 50, but there's a nice lane behind the target, and if nobody's here in the parking lot, I step back and shoot through the pavilion out to 70. So, hey, Michael, we try and keep a family-friendly chat. I'm not judging you per se, but we try and keep that out of the chat. Nothing against you. It's just our policy. What bow you shooting? I'll show you in just one sec once I get the camera set up. All right, we'll go this way. No, we'll go this way. Okay. So let's flip this around. Oh, my bow is cold. Dude. All right, go big or go home. We're gonna start at 40 for this set. Okay, so this is my Elite Terrain. It's got like a 33-inch axle to axle, 70-pound draw weight. I got front bars and back bars from Redline, Hamsky Everest Rest, Trophy Ridge Trilogy, sight. Yeah, and I shoot Easton 6.5s, 340 spine. I have a 27-inch draw length. So, yeah. All right. Oh my gosh, my hand is cold. Dude. I might go get the gloves eventually. We'll see. We'll shoot this round and see how it feels. Good shot, a little bit right. Elevation's pretty good. I forgot my rangefinder and my monocular after I just made a video on how good they were. I forgot them at the house, so. That one's very good left and right, a smidget high. Oh my gosh, my hand's cold, dude. That one's practically touching our last arrow. They might be touching, I don't know. I think that's a little bit lower than our last two. Right in the top of the dot, I think it is. And one more. And that one's just hanging out of the bottom of the dot. We're like skirting around the middle of the dot, but not actually hitting the middle. We're like right around the outskirts. It's weird how that sometimes happens. It's like a mental thing, but yeah, we'll get there. Your quiver shouldn't be on that side. It can be on that side. That's why it's pointing backwards. Michael Fields. Yeah, no, you're good, Michael. If it's pointing backwards, then it's fine to be on that side. I mean, that's how most of the pros shoot with it off that side, just pointing backwards. I just watched the Lancaster Archery Classic, and honestly, I'm not a target guy. I wouldn't go shoot target, and I kind of thought watching a big target archery tournament would be boring. It was very entertaining. I learned a lot. It's cool watching the pros do what they do. Oh man, why are we skirting around the dot like that? This is phenomenal. Alright, so I think, and I've been thinking this for a little bit, my 40-yard pin might actually be a smidget high. Just check this out. Those three broke really, really nicely. Bang, 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 they're right there. Well, that one's tight. easier to pull them out than the last time I was here. That 10-degree difference does a lot. Does a lot. Oh my gosh, we got a bunch of foam stuck to the arrow. Darn. There we go. All right. Farmish 1. That's an interesting name. All right. All right, now we'll step over to 50. See if we can put a couple in the middle of the dot as opposed to the outskirts. I don't typically do that, but I have done that before. It's one of the most confusing things because you're like, man, and it is partially mental, and a lot of it can just be like, well, that's the way the shots broke. Can't work yourself up about it too much, but it is kind of always, it's a little bit weird when you shoot and you're like, man, I'm touching the dot, but it's all around the middle or all around the outside instead of the middle. If it's a consistent issue, that's one thing, but I don't typically do that. All right, 50 yards. 50 yards. See what we can do. All right. Kabang. 39 people in here, 27 thumbs up. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Move the sight tape. There you go. Sometimes I forget to do that. Good shot. Let's adjust this a little bit more so it hangs a little bit lower like that. That's good. A little bit high. Not bad. I think that was right in the middle. I think. I wish I had my binocular, which I forgot at home. I think that was wind related. That's my bet, but I'm not sure. And that one, I believe, is right in the middle. Nice group overall. Wind. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Did you guys hear the wind? Yeah, let me know if you guys heard the wind, because all of a sudden I think it was the fourth shot, the headwind picked up, and I think that might be why my arrow dropped a little bit. So, did you make your own arrows and bare shaft tune them? No, I shoot stock Easton 6.5s at this point in time. I'm getting more and more into archery stuff as I go along. I will end up eventually fletching, making my own arrows, all that. But these arrows, I paper tuned and I broadhead tuned the bow. So the bow is just shooting straight. These vanes are pretty high. Yeah, the mic is picking it up a lot. Yeah, I imagine. I forgot one other thing I forgot is the wind cover for the mic. Sorry about that, guys. But, yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So The lift recovery on these vanes is pretty good. They're a fairly tall vane. So as long as we have the bow shooting straight, it should do pretty well overall. I only really shoot out to 70 yards consistently. And I have done pretty well at that so far. Yeah, for sure. Not making any sight changes on windy days. That is absolutely true. I'm not touching my sight today. I'm just shooting it as is. Compound today, we're just practicing. And then for the recurve, we got a brand new set of arrows that is actually massively lighter than our old set of recurve arrows. So we're kind of trying to find our new aiming points with those. Do you hunt? Yes, I do. So far, I've done minimal hunting. I really started hunting this past season. I did a squirrel rifle hunt up on the channel. But overall, like, I'm a good marksman. I've known how to shoot firearms really well for a long time. You guys can see that in that video if you go watch it. But I've picked up archery over the last probably year and a half, and we will be going on a squirrel hunt with the recurve, and we will be going on a deer hunt with the compound. So we got a line cutter on the top, on the bottom, and then one dead middle. We got that low one, which is probably 2 inches lower than it should be. I think that was headwind. And then we have that one that just broke high, and that was me. I think this low one is wind related. That high one was me. And then those 3 are good. Oh, Lord, that one's tight. Ugh. It's not as bad as it was 2 weeks ago when it was like 6 degrees as I was shooting those targets. These were like rocks. And I had to do so much force to get these things out. I subbed. Gotta respect archers. Takes real skill. Well, thank you. Grew up in the woods. Love it. Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. I love meeting new people. That's why the lives are one of the most fun things. I enjoy the process of putting together a video, long form video, a lot, especially because a lot of the projects I do on the channel, if you guys stick around, or people who are on the channel know, a lot of my projects span over multiple months. They're very in depth. My long form, my average length long form is probably 35 minutes. I go really in depth in pretty much everything I do. I'm a mechanical engineering student, so if that shows you anything, that's kind of like how my brain works with most things. And I enjoy the process of putting together like a cohesive video over multiple months or something that's that long, and having you guys be able to see it and digest it. I enjoy that, but like the lives, there's not much that can beat the lives in terms of just fun. You get to go out there, you get to show the reality of stuff. Like when I'm shooting archery, and if I miss a shot bad, you guys get to see it, and that's real, and I think that's valuable. If I'm out there fishing and I'm not catching much for 2 hours, then you guys get to see that, and I think that's cool and real. It's cool to experience that with you guys, but also just meeting new viewers and getting to actually like have a pseudo conversation with them as opposed to just a singular comment which I reply to is kind of cool. So I do appreciate that. Any 3D ranges by you? There's 2 within 20 minutes of my house. They don't open up till like April, but I'm gonna do those when they open up. So Ranch Fairy YouTube channel goes through the physics of bone breaking arrows that gives the most lethality. Yeah, I've seen Ranch Fairy. I also watch MFJJ, who doesn't like Ranch Fairy, so there's that. I typically go by Podium Archery sort of recommendations. Lancaster Archery. I actually live in PA. I've been to Lancaster Archery 4 times. So like in terms of people who are helping me out, my girlfriend's dad was a pretty successful target archer, so he's a good person. And as far as YouTube stuff, I like a lot of the stuff that Podium Archery, MFJJ does. And then I have a nice shop kind of locally, and then about an hour and 10 minutes away is Lancaster Archery, and obviously that is a huge resource to be able to have. So I got good resources around here, and for how long I've been shooting compound for less than a year at this point. And I can put a 70-yard group together. You guys, if you go watch my last long form, I can put a 70-yard group together that's about like that. And for shooting for less than a year, I think that's pretty good. Far different kind of archery than hunting archery. Yes, that is true. Absolutely 100% true. And I like target shooting with my hunting bow, but like ultimately that bow is going to hunt and that bow is going to do 3D courses. That's why I got that thing, which is, I'm not a big target guy, but like target shooting is valuable and I enjoy the process of learning. So, you know. All right, let's shoot another group just because I want to. 50 yards is fun. Long range is fun. Or we could do something fun, even more fun, and we could shoot at, no, there's a giant snowbank at 70. Let's just stay at 50 today. Keep it simple. Oh, I guess I do have this quiver now. I don't have to set my arrows on the table. For anyone, for anyone who wasn't, there's ice right here. For anyone who wasn't here earlier, I made this quiver for free. There will be a short coming on the channel that I did that in maybe 2 weeks. But I made this quiver. This is the second time I've taken it out on a shooting session. The first time was part of that short, just testing it in the context of the short, but I'm really liking it. I like having a quiver. I've never had a quiver. Like in my archery career, I've always either set the arrows on the ground or there have been like, at the other range I go to, there's little PVC holders strapped to these posts, and I put them in there, but I've never had a quiver and I like it. That was low, and that was me. That one was not wind. That's just not a great, I mean, it's not bad. I would kill a deer, but like, it's not a great shot. Also a little bit low. I think I'm potentially trying to overcorrect for the fact that they were hitting high. I'm just going to stop thinking about that and shoot like a normal person. That one's maybe only an inch low, so. There you go. Holy smokes. That one's left. I know why that was. I put my finger on the trigger and it went off like instantly. And I know I was putting a lot of back tension into it. And I think I like came down with my finger harder than I wanted to. Still not a bad shot, but it's not great. There you go. Recovered with an absolute beaut right to the middle. Yeah, that was a good recovery. It was almost like I punched it without wanting to, because like I hadn't totally settled my float yet. Like my float was there and I was about to start squeezing and my finger came down harder than I wanted to and it just went off. It was, I mean, your float should be generally pretty good before you even touch the trigger. So I was in the right zone. It was just, it went off sooner than I thought it was going to, and that's okay. The rest of them, I had 2 low, 1 high, 1 right in the middle, and 1 a little bit left. Like, not a great group. I'm just gonna run down there and pull them as fast as possible and come back here and do another group. I'll be back. Running through the snow is difficult. Hold on here. Let me reconnect the chat. Bear with me for 2 seconds if you're still hanging out. All right, we're good. All right. Whew. Piece of foam stuck between the field point and the insert. And the target. All right. Let me see y'all. All right, we're gonna shoot one more group from 50. Depending on what it looks like, we will go down and look at it or not. But after this group, we're gonna go back and do some more shooting with the recurve. Right in the middle, beauty. Beauty. A little bit left, but pretty good. It deflected off my other arrow and hit left, but it was generally going towards the middle. Before it hit somewhere. Okay, I gotta push this back. There we go. It does move a little bit when you walk around. There we go. Good shot. Bottom right, but I think it might be in the dot. It's in the bottom right of the dot if it's in, or it's just outside. All right, one more good shot. Take our time. There you go. Not a bad group. We're gonna take a look at that. Potentially take a look at that later. Jerry Pruitt and Alan, hello. Let's go shoot the recurve a little bit more. I'm gonna go pull all those arrows. If you guys didn't see earlier, if anybody's just coming in, we got a brand new set of recurve arrows, and they weigh a significant amount different than our old set of recurve arrows did. So they're not hitting in the same spot as our old ones did, and we are trying to find our new aiming point. So these arrows are all over the target as we kind of honed in on our new aiming point. So I'm gonna go pull those, and then we'll come back here and do another attempt from 20 yards. We kind of, towards the end of this group with the recurve, figured out where our aiming point should be, but we gotta solidify that now. So. All right. Looked like a nice shot. Yeah, that was a good group out there from 50 yards with the compound. Now we're back here at 20 with the recurve and the brand new arrows, trying to figure out our new aiming points with this brand new set of arrows. All right, let's see what we can do here. Okay. Hey, Linda. Butterflies and sunshine. Alright. Let's see if we can find home again. Not bad. We're starting to find home with the 20 yards. Basically found home. Let's see if we can nail one here. A little bit low. Not bad. Let's see. 47 people in here, 43 thumbs up. Thank you guys. What time is it? 11:24. Whoa. I got to be wrapping up around noon or 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. So we are having a little bit of left and right, which is partially because, as you can see, all the fletchings are tilted. It's where you have a little crosswind, so there is that. I'm sure you guys can hear it ever so slightly. But brand new set of arrows, way significantly different than our old ones. We're trying to find our new aiming point because these arrows aim differently, or they fly differently because they do weigh significant amount less than our old arrows. So we're trying to find our new home. We're a little bit low, but we're starting high, and now we've kind of found our middle. Do this one more time, we should generally have a good spot for 20, and we can start looking at 30 and maybe 40 today. 40 is about the max I shoot with the recurve, like, ever. Whoa. My compound, I've shot out to 90. The farthest shot I've ever taken with the recurve is 40, so yeah. There's the truck. We'll do one reversed here. All right, let's see what we can do. Okay. Oh my gosh. I should slide this further back on my... When I walk, it moves, and I keep forgetting, because I've never owned a Quiver before this. So I keep forgetting it moves. There you go. We lost it. I thought I had it, and then I lost it. What is better, compound or traditional? They're different, and I love them both. How much draw weight's that bow? This one's 40, my compound's 70. We've generally found a home. I'm probably going to do one more group. Quiver goes to your right side for cross draw. It can go to the right side, and I probably will end up shifting it to the right side eventually because I want my rangefinder over here. That's just where I ended up putting it today. I'll try it on the other side. I've never owned a quiver, so I'm gonna shoot a couple ends with it in multiple different locations and positions to figure out what I like the most, and then do that. Because some people run it on the same side, some people run it on the opposite side. We'll figure out what we want. We'll see. I'll switch it just so I can see what it feels like. We've been shooting it with it on this side all day. Most of the pros shoot with it on the same side, and I don't know why that is, but we'll try it on the other side. All right, we're switching the quiver over. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Why is it like this? All right, this may be the worst belt loop ever to try and do this with. I'm struggling here. Hold on. Oh my gosh, there we go. All right, let's give that a shot then. All right, let's go grab the arrows, do another group here. The problem is with putting it on this side. The problem with putting the quiver on this side is if you flip it forwards, well, maybe I can do it like this. It's in the way of my draw. That's why people keep it over here. Now, I mean, and then here, you can't grab it. And now it has to go back on the other side. It has to stay on that side. It really does. I knew there was some reason why people had to do it on that side most of the time. That's it right there. It actually is in the way of the draw. Huh. Well, now I know. All right. put that back over here. And I can have this like on the far back of my belt loop. And then, yeah, and then I can still wear my rangefinder on the belt in the front, and then the quiver can go in the back, and that'll work nicely. All right, we found a home for the quiver. So I gotta lay it out a little bit flatter, which is what I put that adjustment in there for. There you go. All right, here we go. All right, cool. That was a terrible shot, but that was on me. I'm playing with things now. I'll describe what I'm doing in a minute, but I'm playing with things. Hold on. That's so weird. Okay, hold on. So I was, nice range, where is it? We're in southeastern Pennsylvania. I was doing some messing with this on a log the other day. My nose placement and how that affects left and right, especially with switching over to tabs. That's a little bit different than with the glove and all that. And I'm just playing with it some more. It's super weird how much influence it has. Okay, let's try something different. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm experimenting. I'm not actually confused. I'm trying to figure something out so I can use it to my advantage. Like I can avoid what's going on, but I'm trying to mess with it so I understand it better. I don't know if that makes sense. How heavy of a draw weight? This is 40 pounds. My compound, which we've also been shooting today, is a 70-pound draw weight. All right, one more group. Hold on. Having these nice big, I think there are 3 feet by 3 feet targets, so they're 9 square feet targets. Is really nice to play with things and experiment because you can aim for the middle and do little tweaks and see how it moves the arrow up and down, which is what I'm doing with my nose placement, because I did this on a live the other day, but my little tiny target isn't as good of a candidate for doing that with, because you know, if you move it too much then you miss. But I'm playing with some of the stuff I was playing with on a live the other day and just seeing what it does, and it's very intriguing to see how much your nose placement really does make a difference. All right, 54 people in here, 49 thumbs up. Just a short little live today. I believe, not solidified yet, but I believe I'll be live again on Friday back out on the ice. So, ice fishing. Nice. That was wind. That one flew wacky. Crosswind made it kick. All right, we're consistently low now, but we found our home in terms of sighting, and I've messed with my nose placement enough to where I feel satisfied in understanding the influence it has. I have a live up on this where I was doing some experimenting with that, not by choice, but I switched over from gloves to tabs for my recurve shooting, and it messed with some things and threw me off, and my nose placement was different. So I had to kind of like relearn that, and I did that live, which was kind of challenging because it was like, oh crap, I'm shooting terrible because I need to figure this out. But it was very informational, and I'm doing some more messing with it, and now we're trying to sight in new arrows that have a much different arrow weight. So we're doing a lot of messing around right now, but it's paying off, and it's making me understand it better. Interesting. Okay. We're just gonna continue walking back and forth, and I'll update you guys as I go. We're gonna go pick up the compound again here in a moment. Probably one more group, and yeah. Alrighty, last experimental group of the day with 20 yards with the recurve. I'm gonna do something I haven't done in a while, which is tilt my bow and try something. I'm experimenting. Okay, interesting. Smacked the thing again. I gotta stop getting so close. The recurve's too long. I've done that twice today. Man, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. Uh-huh. All right. Experimentation just paid off. We just learned something not learned something, but solidified something very beneficial. These are the types of things, the more you go in archery, the more you realize like what's important, what isn't. And yeah, so ready? We were still messing with nose placement and where my new sight mark is, as far as like where I should aim with this new set of arrows that weigh a lot different. Take a look at this grouping. All right, ready? I tried multiple different things because I'm trying to figure out eventually, and I'm not ready for this yet. Like, I'm getting good at archery and I'm sharing my experiences, but eventually I want to do some videos on like, here's how to shoot a recurve, here's how to shoot a compound. Simply, and some of the things I think about, because everybody has their own tips and tricks, and the more you watch of them, the more they're actually really helpful. No matter who it is, they have a little bit of a different take on it, and I want to put mine out there eventually. But I want to figure out like, how can I describe things? Don't do this. Like, how can I word things? What things might people do that do work and what doesn't work? So check out this grouping. I got some information. Ready? As far as up and down and left and right, and this goes for compound too. A lot of people say, like, you don't stare at your sight pins. You don't want your sight pins to be in focus. You want the target to be in focus. So I used to shoot instinctive a lot, and my left and right, even out to distance, were always really good. And I think a part of the reason for that was because I was looking straight down the arrow. I didn't care about anything else. Now, when you're trying to do something like focus on your new sight marks, it often throws you up and down a lot. These were me trying to refocus on where my sight mark was. Where on the riser is my reference point for my 20 yards? These were me focusing on the nose placement. But once I got my sight mark laid in, and the nose placement was a little off and left and right. You know what these two were? Looking down the arrow shaft, having in your peripheral be the string, which gives you your left and right alignment in terms of your nose, and in your peripheral be the riser, where you can almost feel and see where your reference mark is, but in your peripheral, you're looking down the arrow. Same thing as in compound. You don't look at your sight pins, you look at the sight. I'm looking down the arrow, or you look at your target. I'm looking down the arrow at the target, and in the peripheral, I'm letting those other things. As soon as I started focusing on the target, and let go of my nose placement and all that, everything falls into place. And these are things you know, but obviously I got into that mindset, as I was just telling you guys, of experimenting with both nose placement, because I have a bigger target to work with, so I wanted to kind of solidify some of the things I learned the other day without missing. which obviously I still wouldn't have missed on my smaller target because that's only like a 4-inch difference. But at 20 yards, 4 inches is pretty significant. And then finding that new sight mark. But as soon as I like kind of let go of that and just kind of looked down the arrow, I'm not shooting instinctive. I have a reference mark, but as soon as I look down that arrow, my left and right and up and down kind of solidified themselves. It's really good information to have for when I'm trying to explain to you guys eventually like how to shoot a recurve, how to shoot a compound. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna shoot one more group, and I'm just gonna look down the arrow and see what we can do. I'm done experimenting. We're gonna just try and get a good group, you know, see what we can do. Hey, there's Stuart. 11 months, almost a year in the membership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Been playing at work. Gotta go. Everyone, give a thumbs up and have a good one. Thanks, Randy. All right, yeah, this is awesome. A lot of experimentation I just did, which is why this group looks so wacky. This isn't actually how I shoot for anybody who's just joining us. I'm not this bad, but I was doing a lot of experimentation because when I have the luxury of a big target, you can experiment with some things and play with some stuff that you don't normally play with, and learn things, and that was really beneficial because you don't want to miss. And when I have my little tiny target, like, which is I think 18 inches by 18 inches or something like that, when I got that at home, I don't want to miss, so I don't experiment until I'm here, where I have a giant target that I really can't miss. 53 people in here. All right, let's do one more group. It's highly likely that I might still not be perfect because, as I said, these arrows are brand new and we still don't have a solidified sight mark for them yet. We're trying to relearn them because they have a much different trajectory. They're a lot different in weight than our old set of arrows was. So we're trying to relearn these, but I want to see if I can put into practice. It's not stuff I've learned. Like, I've always shot that way because, like, it works. Especially coming from the background of I used to shoot my recurve instinctive. But it's really good to, like, kind of solidify that knowledge and see what it actually does. Like, there's all sorts of experiments people do online. Like, well, people say don't do this. What happens if you actually do? That's effectively what I just did, and it was really eye-opening. All right, we can't get that close. We got to remember that. Good shot. That was a bad shot, but I know what I did. Don't worry about that. So still having some elevation, like, iffiness, because brand new arrows. I'm trying to figure out, really, they shouldn't fly different left and right because of the same spine, but they might fly a little bit different. Well, they definitely fly a little bit different up and down, so we're trying to figure that out. But overall, good group. Nice. Okay. So yeah, up and down. And I had that one weird flyer, but I know what I did. You'll shoot your eye out, eye opening. Yeah. No, I mean, it was good. Experimenting with stuff that you like, experimenting like, okay, this is my technique. And that actually means what? So I had this one weird flyer, but that was because I didn't have my tab on straight. So my finger actually, like, not the tab, my actual finger plucked the string as I was letting go. That's this bottom one. As I said, some elevation issues up and down because these are brand new arrows, trying to figure out where they're actually hitting. They weigh 200 grains different than my old recurve arrows, but generally were in this box, which is all I can ask for when trying to like sight it back in. Yeah, I mean, 200 grains difference in an arrow is a substantial amount. I mean, like the overall arrow weight of my old arrows was 585, and these are like 330, or no, like 350 or whatever. It's something like that. That is like, whatever that is, like 40% of the actual total arrow weight. That's gonna make a heck of a difference. So I'm not used to shooting, like aiming in the spots I'm aiming in, because I'm not used to aiming in the spots I'm aiming in, because these are substantially different in weight than my old arrows. And we're just trying to dial that back in. This is really the first time I shot them past 10 yards. So there's that. Error? I don't know what that means. Let me know what you mean there. And we got a compound. Let's go shoot the compound one or two more times. What time is it? 11:54. All right, one more group with the compound. I'm gonna come back here and finish out the day with the recurve. We've been shooting really well with the compound today overall. 50-yard groupings, about the size of a baseball. Maybe a softball, but I'm gonna run out there, go grab my arrows from 50, and we'll probably shoot them back at 50. Yeah. I'm overall, it's tough to be upset when you're kind of resighting in a bow, because like a lot of that is you don't know where to aim yet. So, but I'm generally happy with some of the experimentation results I'm getting, and like just kind of solidifying things. If you're not playing with things, if you're not always trying to think about things in a new way, then you're just going to fall into habits, and sometimes those habits are bad, all that sort of stuff. Same point, if you're not constantly thinking don't punch the trigger when you're shooting your compound, you're going to end up punching the trigger. It's the way it is. When are you ice fishing again? Probably Friday. All right, catch our breath for a sec and make another group for 50. Probably the last one of the day, so let's make it good. Probably the last compound group for today. A little low on that one. Hold on. I have two shots that aren't great and one that's really good, so. There you go. All right, two really good ones. One, I say mediocre. Like they're all within 2 inches of the dot. So, like overall, I could put 2 hands around the grouping. It's maybe that big, but yeah, 2 in the dot. What the heck? We'll go shoot one more grouping. I don't want that to be the last one. It's a fine grouping, but I have high standards. So cool, awesome. Yeah, I have high standards. I don't want that to be the last one. We'll do one more. Watch, this one will probably be worse. All right, 58 thumbs up, 63 people in here. Let's see if we can put at least 3 of them in the dot from 50, I'm happy. That was a little punchy, but good shot overall. Little high. Man, this group's worse, as I predicted. And I was mostly joking, but it's still not a bad group. Ugh. I'm tired. That one's in. There you go. Alright, that's probably gotta be it. I'm getting tired. I probably shouldn't shoot so many in such quick succession, but this is what I'm doing. I have limited time today. Let's go back here, finish out the day with the recurve. See if we can get one good group, get our 20-yard mark solidified with the new set of arrows, and then we will call it a day. Right. Alright, we'll go over the back shoulder here. So interesting. Okay. I'm messing with something. All right. 38 people in here, 63 thumbs up. Not like a perfect group, but not a bad group. Go grab it, and we'll do maybe one or two more. All right. We're gonna go to 30 and see what the arrows do from 30. I feel like getting an idea at 30 will actually help me at 20. For some reason, I'm struggling a little bit at 20 to get my new point for up and down with these new lighter arrows. So I feel like getting a point for 30 will help me hone in on where the 20 actually is. I keep like psyching myself out. Oh, it should be lower. And then, I'll miss up and down, or oh, it should be higher. And I'm like psyching myself out with this new point. It just feels wrong because it's different from my old aiming point. So I'm gonna aim. I don't actually know how to aim for 30. I'm gonna aim. So these should go higher than my old aiming point. So I'm gonna aim with my old aiming point, but at the bottom, and see where it hits. Interesting. Okay, it actually went under the target. So it doesn't make 2 feet of difference. Maybe it only makes 1 feet of difference. As I said, I don't know where to aim with these. I'm gonna find out. Well, I guess it's right there. That makes sense. All right, well, we generally found where, so, okay. Hold on, one more shot from 30. Okay, we just hit within an inch of our other arrow. Cool. All right, found the aiming point for 30. Now, using that information, let's step back to 20 and see if we can, be more confident and not psych ourselves out and just hit the 20 like, we're supposed to. It's still a little high. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're finding it now. we're gonna do that again and then probably end the live right there. All right, Matt, I think I told you about this. I got new arrows for the Recurve and they're significantly lighter. So we're trying to sight those in today. I'll be back, gonna go grab the arrows from both targets and then we're gonna do that repetition again and probably end the live right there. All right. That's a lot of wood. Oh yes, yes it is. All right, so finding our new, nice backyard, I wish. Finding our new aiming point with these new arrows at 30. We estimated way too low and we shot under this target. So when I go grab these arrows at 30 from our first round, I'm gonna have to go run behind one and go grab our arrow, but you know, that is what it is. All right, so I just did what I just did if you just came in, is I was struggling to find the correct aiming point at 20 with our brand new set of arrows because they weigh different and the aiming point's different. So I was struggling to find the 20, so I came to 30, found the 30, and then went back to the 20 and shot a couple more. We're gonna do that once more and then close out the live. All right, let's see if we can remember this. Almost perfect. A little bit too high, but we're there. We're gonna go grab the arrows, take all 6 of them, come back to 20, shoot one more group, see what we can do. I'm not too picky about it. We're gonna end it here regardless after this 20-yard group, but we're getting used to the new arrows. They shoot a little bit different. All right. You should bow fish off the bridge. There you go. All right, back at 20. Final group of the day. Trying to find our home as far as aiming point with these new arrows. Two arrows, much different weight. Seeing if we can figure it out. There you go. We found it towards the end. All right, we're getting there. It's gonna take a little bit to get used to these new arrows. So, yeah, it is what it is. Trying to figure out a brand new set of arrows is not the easiest thing ever, but yeah, we're getting there. All right, y'all. Well, that's gonna be it for today's live. Fairly short little live. I got to get back to classes here and get some lunch here in a moment. Thanks for hanging out with me. As I figure out that, we shot really well with the compound today, so hopefully you guys could enjoy that and get to see me do a little experimenting with these brand new arrows on the Recurve. So thank you guys. I'm going to cut it here. I will see y'all later. Good boy, says Zara. Probably live on Friday for ice fishing. Not solidified yet, but probably. Keep an eye out. See you guys later.